Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So, Toqger has ended. I was figuring maybe I should wait till the movies because I haven't seen the verses yet dealing with Kruger, and I haven't seen their special one with the Safari Resha. I would say that. Also, they're coming out with one where they have the Seventh Ranger, which I guess maybe I should do a different one from that one. Either way, Toqger on its own, it's a very good series. Lots of people were picking on it, just like what happened with Go Busters. The fact that they were like, "Oh, but the toy line sucks. The toy line is very, very crappy. All the Megazords are not worth buying." You had the same exact detail. The fact that you had lots of people nitpicking, saying how the Megazords aren't that special. The fact that they won't actually buy it. Given, yes, I do admit, yes, they seem like they're kind of a little bit on the cheap side, quote unquote, but they're not really that cheap. They only made it so that, because these days, you guys should know that these days, Japan is kind of going into their own recession like state. Kind of. So that means that they kind of have to downsize so people are able to buy it without having the strain of what we do usually when we want to buy Megazords from Japan. So, like I said in a very, very, very long video, a video I said long, very, very long. In a video I did previously that was months ago, you had Bandai, who was Bandai America and Saban's basically looking at Toqger, and it kind of was a little bit sketchy. They were saying how the fact of their Megazords was very, very cheap or something like that. And I straight up went on them because, well, that's what they're doing these days. That's what they're doing with freaking Zord Builder. It seems that it's so compatible with Zord Builder, it's not even funny. All they gotta do is just change the peggings of it, and guess what? It's Zord Builder. It's like, yeah, it works the same way how Zord Builder works. So it's kind of like, why you're picking on them when you're actually doing the exact same thing every single year? You can't do that. Sorry, I went off. I just had to do it because they really need to serve a spider punch, and I have to just do it. But anyways, Toqger, the review. So the season actually started off very, very interesting. Of course, y'all guys seen the first episode. The fact that you had 4 Rangers who was in one train, and then all of a sudden you had the Red Ranger who was on the wrong side of the train, which you were wondering, why was he in the bad guy's train? That's the fun part. They actually explained it throughout the season, which makes it into the big shocker, which I was, oh my gosh. And of course, I don't really know. I wish lots of people watched my video when it first came out. The fact of, I had a theory. They couldn't recollect anything when they're adults. There was nothing there. There was nothing explaining saying how they need to go back to college or how he had college studies and had to skip it. Instead, it was kind of like they had memories when they were kids, but that's it. They had no memories of them being in preteens or being teenagers at all. Basically making me think, oh my gosh, is this the first ever Kid Ranger team we ever gotten? Technically, tally between America and Japan is, for America, we only have one Kid Ranger, Justin. On their side, they have Ko, and they have, I don't really know his name. I didn't see O Ranger, so I would just say the King Ranger was also a kid. Now you have another tally where they have exactly one season where they actually have all kid Rangers. Given you don't really get to see them turn into Rangers except for the movie. Yeah, the special movie where you actually get to see them change. That's all you get to see them, but other than that, you don't really get to see them change from kid to Ranger form. Instead, they actually have a adult form. And sorry for anyone who didn't know about that. Yeah, there's some spoilers in here. Sorry. But anyways, yeah, you had the bad guys. The bad guys were very good. I guess which one should I go first? The heroes or the bad guys? I'll go with the bad guys first. Bad guys, you had Zed. Zed is very cool. I would love, even though lots of people are shooting this down, it's the fact of, oh yeah, they're not naming him after Lord Zed, or it's Zed, not Zed. It's like, can't you just allow us to have this one? Can't you just say, oh, well, Lord Zed was very, very intimidating. Lord, this Zed right here is intimidating as well. And not only that, but he gives bad dreams and stuff. He creates darkness, which that's what Lord Zed did, actually. He actually created darkness for some little stupid poor kid who actually had nightmares of him. So I would like to think that they actually did their homework and they're like, yeah, we're gonna name him Zed after Lord Zed over there and the incidents that occurred with Lord Zed when he was first seen in America. So rename him Zed. Of course, lots of people are going to shut this down, but hey, I'm just saying, let us have this one. But anyways, yeah, you had basically the mom of Glitter slash Gritta, and that was interesting. That was an interesting take. I don't give a darn. I don't care about the names anymore. You had, I would say, the watchful eye of Zed. Yeah, he basically made sure, and he also kept Gritta's mom in check, and he sure did. You also had Gritta's love interest, real love interest, which he actually died. Yeah, he actually died. But it was very interesting how it was going. It was really interesting. He has an interesting. Definitely check out this season for his story, if not anything. Even though I'm just saying he's kind of good. It's really a good storyline. Let's see. Of course, you have the somewhat second in command. I don't really remember her name, but yeah, you had her, and she kind of made sure that things are in order now. And of course, last but not least, is Gritta slash Glitter. I hated her character. I hated that character. I wanted the character dead. So when Zed actually ate her, or Zed absorbed her, technically no, Gritta ate Zed. And then after that, Zed burst out of her, destroyed her body, and now she is inside of him. Which I was like, okay, fine, that's good. I'm okay with that, just as long as you don't show her again. But then, yep, you keep on seeing her you keep on seeing her. You just keep on doing it. And then all of a sudden, she's free because her stupid mom had to save her. And now because of that, she caused even more doom for the Rangers than anything. I dislike Gritta. I really wanted her dead. I truly did. It's kind of like I would want her to be one of the monster minions that she doesn't really matter much. Or after the whole scheme to try to get Gritta with maximum dark power, and then it failed, I would have liked to, after that, Gritta never to be seen again. Gritta is dead. But instead, no, you made sure she stayed alive even to the very end, which I guess I can understand why you did that, but on the other hand, I just didn't like her character. I kind of wanted her character dead. That's how messed up. And I never actually said that to any other freaking monster ever, or any bad guy ever in the Power Rangers seasons, or in Super Sentai seasons, but I have to admit, this is the first one I'm saying is so annoying. And just so, I mean, I just don't like the ones that are like kind of cutesy dolled up. I mean, not unless this is just her little form and then she'll transform into another form. Which sadly, her other form is just her having red eyes, which I'm like, seriously? Because I just didn't like the way she looked. I really just didn't like how she looked. If they actually had like a power-up mode for her, that actually have someone in a suit that you can tell, besides it's kind of mascot-like. That was really what Gritta was, like mascot-like. And I just don't like those types of monsters slash bad guys. I kind of just like a decent one, not this. Which I'm glad at least she's gone now. Yeah, she's gone. Thank goodness, until they do that movie, which chances are she will return. Well, anyways, let's continue on. So we got the Rangers now. You have Raito. Raito actually is the leader, and he actually is the one that actually is very positive. He is very optimistic. Also, for some reason, most of the clothes he's wearing is actually from America because it has New York. Yeah, you see New York on it. I think you see Chicago on his sweatshirt at some point or t-shirt. Yeah, he basically is all around the world, I guess. Yeah, because there's some where I'm like, dude, you didn't go to New York, right? Though, come on, you didn't go to New York. I mean, I get it if it says Tokyo, but it said New York on it. I'm like, what? I'm just messing. I mean, if he wears New York gear, why not? I guess why not? Next is Tokachi, who is the Blue Ranger. He's the one that's I won't say he's the smart one. Yeah, you have the smart one and you have the clumsy one. In this season, you have the Blue Ranger as the clumsy one. But he does have a love interest with the Yellow Ranger, and it's kind of funny, especially when that one episode was funny. That one episode is very, very funny where the Yellow Ranger actually got a date. She actually had to go on a date with some guy who couldn't take a hint. And it was very, very crazy. They tried their best to make sure that she actually, she's tried her hardest to get rid of him, and even said that the Sixth Ranger, Zarem, was her boyfriend, but that didn't even stop him. I applaud that guy because I can't do that. So Tokachi got really, really heartbroken on that one. But there was a scene close to the end where Tokachi and Mio, they actually had this touching moment where they actually were sitting together, and it's kind of like funny because you would figure they would kiss, but they're only just kids in adult bodies. That's just the funny part of it. It's kind of like Big. Yeah, it's kind of like Big, actually. So next up is the Green Ranger. My gosh, what was his name? I know what he looks like, I just can't remember his name. Oh, great. So I remember Mio's name, and now I forget the Green Ranger's name. Oh, that's just great. Thanks a lot. Well, anyways, so the Green Ranger is the smart one of the bunch. He actually is a detective as well. He's the serious type. He is, this is the one that is a ranger who is serious about things. So that's basically all I have to tell you about him, is that he had that. And then you had Mio, and Mio's the strong one. So usually in Rangers, you have the cutesy girl one that everyone would fall in love with, and then you have the tough girl who is a tomboy, which, But anyways, it depends on what you guys love. If you love cutesy girls, cool. If you like tomboys, which I kind of do sometimes, So Mio is just basically that. She's very, very tough. And then you have Kakura. She is the Pink Ranger. She's the cutesy type. She's the one that most likely will need some help. And you actually get a demonstration of that when she has to imagine herself as Ultimate Girl or Strong Girl or Karate Girl or Karate Champion Girl. Which I kind of dislike that. I kind of dislike the whole... that was too... Just like what someone actually said, Japanesey, which it was too Japanesey for me. Which I'm glad it later died down, where she only just said it, but they didn't actually have the cutaway. It wasn't a cutaway gag, but it was like a cutaway where you see her and she's basically getting pumped up and ready to beat the person down, or cooking something. Which that was kind of cool. Let's see. And of course, lastly is Zarem, which Zarem is very, very unique. He actually is a bad guy. He was a part of the bad guy team, but as soon as he saw a rainbow, he changed his ways. So he's now working on Rainbow Line. Eventually, he actually got the Morpher and became the Sixth Ranger. And he believes that he actually was going to die. He believed that eventually one of the battles he's going to be in, he actually will die. I guess it's the funny part of it is that they already killed Beat Buster, and it's not it hasn't been a long time since a ranger died. So this is like one of the funny parts where it's like, yeah, the sixth ranger is known to die, and they know they do that, but they just kind of made it very funny. And you were figuring either A, he was going to eventually figure out that he was going to die, or B, just the fact of it's funny that he thinks he's going to die, but it's been only 2 years since. Yes, 2 years since the last Power Ranger death. So, well, Super Sentai death. So, it's going to take a while for it to happen. Yeah, it's going to take some years before they actually decide to kill another Sixth Ranger. Yeah, it's going to take a long while. But anyways, it's very, very fun to watch him fight. I love it that he actually has his own musical instrument, which he uses and knows how to use. Let's see what else. When he was fighting, he started to fight as the Sixth Ranger as Toqger 6 or Toqger Rokugo. He always just threw his sword. I would just say sword. So he usually throw his sword and just basically do some wrestling moves and fighting, and then he realized, oh crap, I need my sword, and he had to go and get his sword. So eventually he came to a point where he actually keep hold of his sword, but in the beginning he basically just throws it whatever, and then yeah. So it's very, very nice. I enjoyed that series. That series was very, very good, and the ending was very fun. Of course, let me just say one side note. They added something very special. It's the fact that the Rangers can switch from red to blue to yellow to pink and to green, which is very, very cool. And then you would figure that the Sixth Ranger, who is orange, yeah, don't let me forget about that, the first actual Orange Ranger. For us in America, we got an Orange Ranger, but it was a gag character from SPD. And I don't think Operation Overdrive or SPD should count as the first Orange Ranger because it's just part of their costume and not even the whole entire costume. So, yeah, the Sixth Ranger, he wasn't able to actually participate in switching. But I enjoyed that you finally got to see that happen at the last episode. In the last episode, you actually had Toqger Rainbow. But for Toqger Rainbow to happen, he basically transformed from red to blue to green to yellow to pink. And then he actually put the orange, he put in Zaram's Russia and did it. Yeah, he took to Ram's Russia and actually put it down, and you actually got to see one on the Orange Ranger's chest, which was like, oh no way. I guess technically he can't do it, but they can. So it's kind of like they could actually just kept his Russia and then changed. So technically, when they went to the Dark Towns, which, yeah, that's one thing I do need to talk about, is when they went to the Dark Towns, they actually could have took his Russia too. So, yeah, because in the Dark Towns, they only had 10 to 5 seconds to fight in Ranger form. Then it dies out. So it's kind of like, yeah, or maybe it was 30 seconds. But either way, they could have took his Russia and could have had a little bit more time, which was like, no way. Yeah, it's kind of like really no way, but of course they already battled that. So, let's see. Anything else? Well, the only other part to talk about is just the fact of how the bad guys were working. So the bad guys were working by polluting the world with darkness. And, well, one thing that happened is that, which that's one thing that was the premise, is the fact of the Rangers eventually needed to figure out where they came from, because they couldn't remember anything besides being kids, but they couldn't even remember where they lived. So that was the messed up thing of them all. So with that said, they had to figure it out, which I think I must have missed something, or maybe it was in a movie, because when I was watching, I was like, so they know where they live, but I don't remember the previous episode. So I guess it was in the movie where they learned where they lived. It started with a P and it's Shores, P Shores. I'm going to say P Shores for short. So that's where they lived, and it turns out it was a dark town, and basically what they do is the bad guys go to a certain town, put a monster there, and the monster will cause enough darkness, enough sadness and gloom to pollute, and that will turn that city into a dark city where time stands still. So in dark cities, they can actually save them. Along with that, they can pre-save them, basically go in there just as the monster goes there and defeat them. Other than that, with the dark cities, you needed Zaram to help you because Zaram actually knows the rails, so he'll be able to find them. And you also needed to drill Russia to go there. Yes, and that was the real messed up point of it all. It's kind of like this is the sequel to what happened to Genta in Samurai Sentai Shinkenja. The fact that his Ika Origami, I think that was his name, Ika Origami, it got stolen. Yeah, it got stolen by a Kamen Rider, and, well, he needed it. So you weren't able to see him around. Kind of the same concept, but this time it's kind of like he had to do a dark deed to get it back. He had to do a dark agreement to actually get it back. But it's very, very fun. Yeah, this series is very fun on its own, and given it is kind of more quote-unquote childish, or actually it has entered the world of Power Rangers. The fact that it's technically made for kids, but it still has elements where adults and teenagers, their usual normal audience, can still watch it. So that's the good news. And besides, there's many people who are in Japan who actually enjoys Power Rangers as well, so it doesn't really affect some of their fan base, technically. So, is that about everything I needed to talk about for Toqger? You know, I talked about mostly everything. The only thing left is the Zords itself. The Zords, I didn't really, sadly, I didn't find them appealing. Yeah, that kind of happened with Go Busters 2. I know that's bad. I know it's bad. But with Go Busters, I didn't really find anything I really would like to have. I mean, I could actually get the Buster Hercules, but I don't really see that really as satisfying as the way Wright put it, Grandpa Russia. Yeah, so I would so get the Grandpa Russia. I would so get him. That means I have to get him. I have to get the car carrier Russia. Yeah, no, not the car carrier Russia. Yes, it was. Yes, it was the car carrier Russia. So I have to get him. I got to get the car carrier Russia, and I got to get the tank Russia, and then I'll be able to make the other one. Yeah, that was like the second one that was quote unquote kind of Raito's. Yeah. And then they also gave you Zaram's Russia, which was kind of cool. I mean, that was kind of cool. You had some accessory Russias like Police Russia, Fire Russia. Is there any other Russias I forgot? Of course, they had that Shield one, which I don't really remember if it had a name or something. Let's see. And I bet I'm forgetting like some other ones. I already talked about the Drill Russia. Drill Russia actually, yeah, that's one thing. Is that the Drill Russia is actually compatible to the Dark line. That's what they were called, the Dark/Shadow line. So that means their Megazords, I guess you can call it, they can actually use the Drill Russia because that actually was a part of the Shadow line, which was kind of cool. So yeah, you have that. Let's see. One thing that was messed up was when you had the combination of all the Russias together for the first time, not including the Zaram's Russia / Megazord. I kind of was okay with it, but oh wait, no. I was okay with that one. That was called Super. It was Super To-O. Yeah, I think that was called Super To-O. Hopefully that was what it's called. If not, oh well. Well, anyways, yeah, the second version of it, which I think it's only because the people who actually translated it, they screwed it up. I think they're the ones who screwed it up. Because when they did the transformation with Zaram, it was called Super Duper To'o, which I was like, Super Duper? What is this? Freaking Barney? Yeah, it was technically called Super Chill To'o. Yeah, so the chill part of it, which technically means super, that didn't supposed to be translated. But for some reason, they had to translate it. So since it would be called Super To'o, they actually decided to be like, oh, Super Duper. And I was like, oh, God, man. Where are we going? Are we going back to freaking Barney? This is where we're going? So that was kind of like the messed up downer point of watching it in subtitles, is the fact of they said Super Chill To'o, not freaking Super Duper. So I kind of dislike whoever did that. Yeah, they shouldn't have done that. I mean, the good news is that, yes, it's kind of it's child-filled, it's child. Yes, kid-like, but still, I don't want to see that. But there's Optimus. So, you also had what happened when you got the power-up. When you had the power-up, it actually gave you another Megazord, which I kind of forgot what it was. But yeah, that other Megazord, like many people said, it technically can't do anything very, very good. It's technically what the carrier Zord from Lost Galaxy and the one from Turbo. I mean, technically, the Super Train Megazord is better than this one that you can see. Technically, if they could actually have made it just like what you've seen on TV, it might actually be good, but they couldn't do that. They couldn't do that at all. Let's see, is there anything else I missed? I think that's about all the Megazords that they had. So, the Megazord line, I would get the Grandpa Megazord. I would get that one. But other than that, I don't see any worthwhile within the whole entire Megazord. The good news is that they did actually release the Dark Line Megazord, but that's cost a lot of money for people. And also, you did have they actually created a Legacy line over there at Japan for all the adult collectors. So that's the good news. But the bad news is that they only could actually help with placement of chrome / die-cast metal in a few places. That's all they were able to do because that's all they did. I mean, maybe if they cut cost on paint on the mini version of it and then painted it on the actual legacy, quote-unquote, legacy line of the Megazord, then I bet technically they could have actually have made it worthwhile. But other than that, they just added die-cast metal, and that really didn't do anything for the Megazord, actually. So, yeah. Well, anyways, Toqger, I say that was a good Super Sentai series. Deserves to be a Power Ranger series. And if it doesn't, well, it's a very crying shame. Just like with Go Busters. That would have been a good Power Ranger series. Technically, I think that's what Disney should have had instead of RPM. Because that's what they wanted, right? They wanted a freaking... One city's left, and it's under a dome. But this time, they have to protect something. Yeah, the dome supposed to protect the people, but this time, not only you're supposed to protect the people, but you actually have to protect their energy source. Because without their energy source, then all hell breaks loose. Which they never really actually told us how in the world their city was being run. Did they? I don't think they never actually told us their power source. So that's one thing interesting. But yeah, and then the whole thing of the showdown with Enter, or with, oh yeah, his name was Messiah, yeah. Oof, that wouldn't have worked well in America at all. They would have to figure out a new name for him. But anyways, their head honcho bad guy, instead of being like, oh, we gotta enter this world, the dimensional rift, it's more like if they exit the dome, they're actually there. So it's kind of like they would kind of change a little bit of the story, but it's interesting. It'll be more interesting. This time, it actually is like everyone got transferred into this messed up bizarro world. But the good news is that they created shielding so that they can still preserve themselves. Or maybe the fact of the head honcho took over the world, but luckily for them, they had a heads up and they were able to have that dome shield open. And that dome shield is protecting them all from not dying and stuff. So, and then as soon as they exit out of the dome, that's when they face the bad guy, and then maybe it's a desert wasteland now because they don't actually enter it again. So now it's a desolate wasteland that they're able to actually check out. But still, yeah, it's kind of like, there you go. That's what Disney could have done. They could have done something with that and then allowed Saban to have RPM, even though given the track record, they might have screwed it up. But the good news is that they wouldn't have skipped RPM because the Zords were okay. So most likely that would have been a saving grace. Well, anyways, that's about all I have to tell you. So I'm going to web out. So check out Toqger. And if you guys are like, where can we see that? I'll have a link down below so you guys can check it out. So, yeah, so I'm just going to web out. Peace.